What is up, everybody? We are back. Dudes Who Bets Daily, back for another week, sort of. We got Saturday, Sunday to kind of finish off the week. Took Thursday and Friday off. Papa Dude, are you ready for the last, quote-unquote, real college football weekend of the season?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one. This is maybe the best one of all.
Yep.
Normally. And there's some good ones today. A lot to be settled today and going into next week. Yeah, really looking forward to it. The weather's supposed to get kind of cold and rainy here this afternoon. There's no reason to be outside. It's going to be really good.
We spent enough time outside yesterday. I'll be inside today.
I have never been as cold in 45-degree weather than I was yesterday.
I was talking.
I was dressed. I didn't have enough clothes on. It was just cold.
Yeah, I was talking to our family members who were at Arkansas yesterday, which they had to have been very miserable. But talk about the cold, and they said the same thing. They're like, it shouldn't have been cold based on what the weather forecast said, but it was cold. It was like the coldest 45 ever of all time.
So they felt the same way. They were a little later than we were too. Yeah. I can just imagine what it was like down there at 5 o'clock at Norman yesterday. It would have been really cold.
I don't know. It was just I told Heather, it's like it was the oddest day because it really wasn't cold, but it was cold for some reason. I don't know why. So, not good. All right, let's go on to the games, though. Let's get to talking about the biggest game of the year so far, and this is Ohio State and Michigan today. Of course, Ohio State with that long streak of just owning Michigan. That stopped. The last 2 years, Michigan has been able to turn the tables and really – I know the scores aren't like crazy lopsided, but Michigan, if you've watched those games, kind of have dominated Ohio State. Can they make it 3 in a row today? They are a 3.5-point favorite. Talking about Michigan. What do you think?
Yeah, I am really looking forward to this. Now, I really believe if a lot of scoring is your thing, you might be bored watching this game. But if you like two teams that are going to go at one another, pound each other, I am going to be shocked if that's not what happens. Aren't you? Don't you think this is going to be a rock'em sock'em game?
Feels it. Yep.
It feels like it.
Because Ohio State is kind of that style of team this year. Yeah.
They don't have the explosiveness that they've had.
Right.
And they seem to be a little bit more fit. Well, they are more physical than they've been the last couple of years. They're playing like Michigan.
Yep.
So it's really hard to pick this game. I like Ohio State a lot in this game. Here's the thing. I don't know how good either one of them is, especially Michigan. Ohio State does have a very good win over Notre Dame at South Bend. I don't know if they should have won the game, but they did, and they went toe-to-toe with them, and it showed me they were physical.
So there's two things, not to jump in on your thought process, but I agree that it's a good win, right? But they should have lost the game, number one. And number two, Notre Dame hasn't really turned out to be that good.
That's right. So I was kind of getting to that too. They're not great, and so it's still a better win than Michigan has. Michigan has only beat Penn State. That's it. And Notre Dame's beat Penn State and not Notre Dame. Ohio State's beat Penn State and Notre Dame. So, I think it's going to come down to maybe an explosive play. If Ohio State's going to win, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have to make an explosive play or two, which he's capable of doing. And they probably have game planned to get the ball to him as much as they can. They should.
Yep.
That's how they're going to win. I think Michigan might get a turnover or two, and that may be how they're going to win. Benny has got the best bet.
I agree with Benny. That's why I put it up. Yeah. Benny says Ohio State, Michigan under the best bet.
Yeah. I just think this is going to be a 20-17 type of game.
Feels it.
Unless Ohio State can break some stuff. So
the one, I put Benny's best bet up there once again. The one worry is what I'll say. And I was saying, I totally agree. The under is the play here, under 46.5.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan has put up surprisingly points on Ohio State,
Yeah,
like
they
the
really
last
have.
couple of years.
Yep.
That's the only. I don't think this thing goes over unless it's a blowout. I just feel like Ohio State is a little bit better equipped to not make that a blowout and maybe even beat them. But that's debatable one way or the other, right? But
Yep.
I'm with Vinny. I'm with you. You said it before we got on the air. You think in this game that the total is what to play here. So
yeah, because I just can't pick a side. I just
Mhm.
can't. You know, I can see it going either way. I'm going to sit down and really enjoy watching. I will be shocked if this one doesn't go down to the wire.
So if I make you pick a side, though, you are going to take Michigan.
I if I had to take a side, yeah, I guess because they're at home. That would be the only reason.
That's what it's. Yes, if you made me take a side, I would take Michigan as well. Now, Magic isn't here. I told you off the air, I don't really like this bet very well. Magic's best bet is Ohio State plus 3.5. His big reasoning is, look, they're a tougher team this year. We saw kind of the finesse of Ohio State. They haven't been able to win games by finesse. In turn, that's made them a tougher team.
Mm-hmm.
They play a tougher style of football. So that's number one. Number two, he said it's really, really hard, he thinks, to beat Ohio State 3 straight years.
I agree.
Said, no matter who it is. He said, I'm getting 3.5 points. He said, and the biggest thing of all, this is a huge revenge game for Ohio State. They've heard with their soft. They've heard they can't beat Michigan. He thinks Ohio State's going to play their best game of the year. He said, maybe they win, maybe they don't. They're going to keep it real close. It's going to be a good game. He's taking the points. He's going Ohio State plus 3.5.
What's the weather like? It's just cold, and then there's no
37 degrees, but clear skies.
Yeah,
as of right now.
That's not going to bother.
Shouldn't be a factor.
Football teams at all.
No.
I think the other key with that makes Magic's bet just a little better is that half point. This could be a 3-point game. It really could.
I think that was his big thing. I don't necessarily hate taking Ohio State. I hate it as a best bet. That's how I described it with you. I think this game is such a toss-up. I don't really want to side, and that's why we kind of talked about the total. But look, I just believe your situation, or Benny, what Benny's talking about is right. Like 2017, 17-14. 27-17 maybe, but just a low scoring game that doesn't go over that total. I think that is the most likely,
I do too. If you feel the need, you have to bet this game. A lot of times guys think I got to bet this game. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to bet the best game. That's not what you do sometimes. That's why I'm staying away from it because I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll find
I totally agree.
Obscure game somewhere.
And this is definitely one of those games you don't really have to bet it to enjoy it, right? I mean, this is.
Oh no, you just watch this one.
Yeah, and kind of old school type of football, right? Field position, special teams, that kind of stuff. Probably going to win this game.
This is an Iowa type game.
Yep.
Only they're a little bit better offensively.
Yep, absolutely. Bree asked if I like Del Mar or Aqueduct best. Bree, I like Del Mar's card best, but Aqueduct I've been on fire with, so I would have to answer Aqueduct, even though I like Del Mar a little bit better. But
when you're on fire, it doesn't matter what the card is, right?
That's right. Yeah. Listen. The last 3 or 4 days, Aqueduct's been the track, so I'm going to stick with it. Even though, I'm looking more forward to watching Del Mar for sure. So, and also Churchill, but we'll talk about that here in a second. All right, let's get on to the next game. Florida. I put this one on here. I just think it's super intriguing. Florida State at Florida, a huge rivalry game. Florida State 6.5 point favorite here. Total sitting at 48.5. Like I said, down in the swamp. Florida's not very good. Florida State loses Jordan Travis. Very much an unknown at quarterback. What do you think is going to happen here in this one?
This is another one. I think you stay away from this game. We don't know. There's too much unknown in this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is this would make Florida's season.
Yeah.
And they're hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think without Florida State's quarterback, it's really even this thing up. Look at the line. It would not be this.
No.
There's no way.
It's
So
probably, I bet it's shaded 7 points.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I just kind of think it should be double digits if Florida State has a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So is Florida good enough defensively? I don't know. They've given up a lot of points. And so Florida State may be able to just line up and run over them. I don't know. I have to admit, I've not seen enough of either one of them. I know Florida's not very good. 6.5 is probably about right. This could be a surprise. It could, but I think Florida State's better in all phases of the game, and they'll end up, their defense will end up playing well enough to win the game.
I'm with you. Listen, I'm not going to overreact. I think Florida is a very mediocre team at best. I think even without Jordan Travis, Florida State is going to go in there and beat them by more than a touchdown. I'm taking the Seminoles. I'm not going to waver off them. Next week, I think will be a tougher challenge because Louisville's a much better team. Louisville's got a huge game coming up here soon, so we'll see how they do, see if they can roll in there 11-1. But I just think they're a lot better team and a lot better defense. And you mentioned it, Florida, not very good defensively. They're not very good offensively. They're not very good, period.
They're not very good. That's right.
If Florida State loses this game, I'll be surprised. Even with the quarterback situation.
Louisville's defense will give Florida State trouble.
That's my thoughts. Yeah, I agree with that as well. All right, let's keep going here. We got one more to go. Speaking of defense, there's not a lot that's been played in North Carolina, but at North Carolina State, they seem pretty good defensively. Yeah. I think this line's wrong. North Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite tonight at North Carolina State. Total at 55.5. I'm all over the Wolfpack in this one. What about you?
I think it's a very fishy line.
It is
scary.
Yeah.
You know, the Wolfpack have won like 4 in a row. They struggled early because they were breaking in a different quarterback than what they've had. They are one of the best coached teams in the country. No one knows anything about them because they're always 8-3, 9-4, something in that ballpark. And that's what they are. They're 8-3 coming into this one. North Carolina's limping into this. They've won a couple, but they've struggled to win them. North Carolina State's hard to beat in Raleigh, and I just think they may be better. Mm-hmm. I would never bet North Carolina in this game. They may win because they might have just a little bit better overall talent. I think North Carolina State, if they can keep it from being a shootout, they're going to win.
You know, Tony said it, and you said it as well. Mid-season, I think North Carolina is going to go in there and roll them. They're playing so well, and North Carolina State, like you said, they were shaky. You look at the last 4 games, and even you go back maybe the last 6 games, North Carolina State has been a much better team, in my opinion. North Carolina, they lost some games. They also were in some tight games that they could have lost. They don't play any defense. I just feel like North Carolina State's going to get them. It's at home. That's going to be this is another rivalry that, you know, doesn't get a lot of talk, but it is a big rivalry. North Carolina State hates North Carolina. I think they get it done.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Pedlo says go Heels today, so he's on the other side there.
Is that our last game we're going to do?
Yeah, this is the last game. Well, I want to do this comment real quick.
Sure.
The Racing Dudes Mac Brown curse continues. Give me the Wolfpack. So we sat on not this show, but one of our other show, and we bragged on Mac Brown and how great of a job he's doing. He's still doing a good job at North Carolina, but they have been awful since we did it. So we ruined the season for North Carolina.
Yeah, we did. We did.
It's embarrassing. All right. Anyway, that's our last game. You got some more though. You said.
Well, there's another game that I think is interesting. But if you don't follow college football like I do, you probably won't think it's interesting. We got a New Mexico State team that went into Auburn and beat them by 21 points last Saturday. Okay, so today they're at home to take on Jacksonville State, which is a solid team, but they're not great. But this is their first year at this level, and they've been unbelievable. I think they're 8-3. They're kind of struggling, though, coming down the stretch. And New Mexico State's an underdog in this game.
It's weird.
It is a weird line.
Mm-hmm.
I think they win. Now, I was reading a lot of guys that I follow a little bit, trying to see how they're thinking on this. They think they may be flat coming into this game off the Auburn game. And I'm sure they've got all their pats on the back all week long down in Las Cruces, New Mexico. But I think they're going to ride the wave on this. I like them a lot in this game because they're pretty good.
Yep.
Tony's right. It is a classic letdown spot. And I would really be on Jacksonville more, but they don't have a very good offense.
Well,
and I just think New Mexico State's going to play well.
I agree it's a letdown. I think it helps they're at home a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it helps that they are really on a roll and they're trying to build towards the conference championship game versus Liberty next week. That's already decided no matter what happens in this game.
Yep.
And I kind of believe in what Papa Dude's saying. I kind of like New Mexico State as well. The biggest thing for me, I've literally watched Jacksonville State probably 4 times, believe it or not.
I like them.
Because they're in weird, they play on those weird days, and it's like, yeah, I'll turn them on.
Yeah.
Rich Rodriguez, if you remember him, he's down there at Jacksonville State, and they're pretty good. They've also won some miracle games where they get behind and they come back and win, or they have to pull one out.
Right.
I don't want to disrespect Jacksonville State because I think they've had a great year. I'm not sure they're as good as that 8-3 record. I really don't.
They're struggling a little bit in the last few games. They've not been quite as good as they were early.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, Isaac mentions Missouri.
Yep, I was going to do that next. Yep.
Yeah, this is a team that's come out of nowhere.
Yep,
been really good. Mark mentions another game: San Jose State and UNLV tonight.
Yep.
Here's another team. UNLV have probably, Mark, you probably know this, have won more games this year than in the previous 10 years combined.
Yeah.
And New Mexico State's the same way. I mean, it's amazing. This team is 9-2. I think they've won the league. I think. Not sure. I'm not positive on that. Mark will know because he's a Mountain West guy. They're at home tonight and they're underdogs.
Yeah.
To San Jose State. I think I would have to take UNLV, keep riding them until they get beat.
Yep. Yep. I'm with UNLV tonight as well. I think that's a good story. They're going to get a pretty good bowl. I saw a projection there matched up with the USC.
I saw, yeah.
I would love to see UNLV just crush USC in a bowl. And I think they might, honestly.
Yeah.
All right.
Shoddy said the Missouri fans cheered when KJ went down yesterday. That's the Arkansas quarterback.
Yeah.
I will just quick thing. They're the worst fans I've ever seen, Shoddy.
Yeah.
The worst.
Trust me.
When they're good.
If Arkansas was 5-6 coming in that game, there would be 3 people there when nobody in the state would even know sorry, not Arkansas. If Missouri was 5-6 going to that game, there'd be 3 people in the state that even knew they played.
That's the way this state is. They could care less.
Yep. And when they go back down to their normal 6-6,
yeah,
there won't be anybody there again. Trust me.
Another quick story. Aaron, remember when we had the sporting goods store? This was about 2007, 2008. Chase Daniels was at Missouri, and they got all the way to number 1.
Yep.
And we had a lot, not a lot, but some Missouri merchandise in the store that had been there for 4 years.
It had dust on it.
It had dust all over it. We could not sell it.
Yep.
Okay, so we had it over on the clearance bin for like $5, $10, whatever, very cheap.
Yeah.
Couldn't get rid of it. So once they got to number 1, then here comes everybody.
Yep.
Hey, we need some Missouri stuff. So remember, we went and marked it up.
Oh yeah, we ripped the clearance
higher than what it had been when we couldn't sell it. We sold out everything in the store immediately, and then people are coming. How come you don't have any Missouri stuff in here?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of fans they are.
I'll never ever forget. This is the last week we could talk about stories like this forever.
Yeah.
OU and Missouri were matched up in the Big 12 title game the first time. They went 2 years in a row, but the first time, so they're playing the game down at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And and a couple of Missouri fans came in like, we're gonna go down, we're gonna go up to Kansas City and watch that Big 12 championship game this week. I said, yeah, you're gonna go to Kansas City and watch it, huh? Yeah, we're gonna go up there Arrowhead and watch it. Yeah, because the game had been played up there. They rotated, but it had been played up there a lot in Kansas City. I said, why don't you guys do that? Go up to Kansas City this weekend and watch Oklahoma and Missouri. You'll have to watch it on a television because they're not playing there, but go ahead and do that. Yeah. And they weren't the only ones. A lot of those Missouri people that year, they didn't even know where the game was at. So because they don't follow it and they don't really care unless they're good.
And they were coming in there because we're OU fans.
Right.
Believe me, living where we do, we don't say much.
Say a word to
because we're in the minority. Over in Joplin, there's more OU fans than there is anything else in college football over here, probably. But anyway, we didn't say anything, and they're just giving us shit. We're going to kill you and all this stuff. Of course, OU beat them by 21 points. Never saw those people again.
No,
never saw them again.
No, yep, I know. Anyway, all right, that's just that stuff we could get into. So we should do stories from the sporting goods store on the end of our shows that we do. Not this show, but the
show. That's a great idea.
We could fill some time. Yeah, we could definitely do that. All right, let's get to the racing today. We're gonna go Churchill Downs today. Churchill Downs race 11 on the card today. It is a Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes. It's going to be a good one, folks. A field of 8 coming up for this one. The 2-year-olds getting ready to take their first step. One of them or two of them towards the Kentucky Derby in the spot. All right, Papa Dude, who are you going with?
Well, narrow it down to 3.
Okay.
See if you agree. I like the 1, the 6, and the 7.
Okay. I could have guessed that's where you're going. Okay.
Okay. The 1, very impressive, Awesome Road. And they're all pretty similar in the way they run, too, as far as their style, I think. Yep. They look like they want to go. To me, they do. Anyway, they've shown that. They haven't raced that much, so you can't really tell for sure. Awesome Road, very impressive debut. Probably pushed the gun too much and put him in the Breeders' Cup. Wasn't ready. Didn't run at all. So you hold that against the horse or not. Has he matured a little bit, ready to roll in this one. So that's definitely contender. You got the 6 Stretch Ride. Now this one's pretty interesting. 2 for 2. Broke the maiden. Didn't put it in a stakes race. Put it in an allowance race. Won by 5 lengths. Now moving it up to this one, which is a grade 2, right? So doesn't have the experience of being in a race with better horses, but does have the experience of kicking somebody's ass twice in a row. So
that's right.
Makes a difference. And then you have the 7, an Asmussen horse that won by 4, then put it in a grade 3. These were at Saratoga.
Yeah.
Really good horses. And it was second in a grade 3 at Saratoga, beaten by West Saratoga, I believe.
Yep. So, Saratoga was the maiden race. Then he went to Churchill.
Oh, he went to Churchill and
got beat by West Saratoga.
Okay.
So I can see how you're confused.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's a pretty good horse.
Yeah.
And he ran well. Lost by 1 3/4, I think. So, I think you like the 1, and I can see why.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and go with the 7. Which surprise.
Yeah, nobody's surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd watch that 6 though.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the 7, Risk It.
So Bree's going to go with Risk It as well. No surprise there. Going with the 7. Some of these, no Risk It, no biscuit, says Tony. Only reason to like the 5 is a connection. So Rob likes the 5. It is Saez and Pletcher. Where is Rob's comment? There it is. Yeah, he likes the 5 here. We'll see what happens with that one. The other Rob here is going with McPeak and Real Violin. The 3 classic McPeak horse. We're on the turf. We're on the dirt. We're at 25 different tracks. Now we're in a stakes race. We'll see what happens. Shoddy going Awesome Road as well here as I'm going to go Shoddy Road as well. Our Shoddy Road. Awesome Road as well. You can tell I have no sleep the last 2 days. Listen, it all comes back to this for me. I jumped off Fierceness after one bad race, even though I still thought he was very talented. He came back to win. In the Breeders' Cup and looks so good. This is the same exact thing. I was really high on the maiden race for Awesome Road, got the job done, was hugely high on Awesome Road in the Breeders' for Charity, ran like shit. No real excuse. I still think the horse has a lot of talent. I think Awesome Road gets it done. So I'm going to go number 1, Awesome Road on top. I'm not going to jump off of him for just now. And I think the 7 Risk It, I've got that horse in second, and I put Real Min Violin in third here. So that's where I'm going on this one.
Okay. I want to mention Pedlo just a minute.
Yeah.
He's talking about BYU today.
Yes.
The reason why that's so big for Oklahoma fans is if we need them to beat Oklahoma State tonight. I just want to say this, Pedlo, because, we're huge OU fans, as are you. I'm not sure we want to go play Texas.
Well, I would rather go for sure, but
I would too.
I don't know how we're going to match up with this Texas team, how they're playing versus how we are currently playing.
I'm a little worried, yeah.
It is a little scary, but listen, I've converted to the Mormon faith for one day.
Me too.
They let me do it. So I've converted to the Mormon faith for a day, Pedlo. I know you have too, and we'll see. We'll see if it helped.
Yeah. And basically, I'm rooting for them because I don't want Oklahoma State to go.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the best bets here. We're going to go, or I'm going to go to Magic's first. If you miss it to start the show, Magic's on Ohio State plus 3.5. So we'll see what happens there. I may not love that, but I'm going to go ahead and tell him, hey, do it. You like him, you do it. So Ohio State plus 3.5 here for Magic today. So something to root for here in about 30 minutes. If he can get it home. I'm going to go to Churchill for mine. I'll stick with the horse racing theme since we're there and go to mine. Churchill race number 9. I like the number 9 Booth. Papa Dude, Steve Asmussen trains this horse. That's a good sign right off the bat. Here's the deal.
Great pick.
I think that I think this horse is going to be really good. Horse is by Matoli. Kind of looked like Matoli on debut. Took him gate to wire, won by 5 1/4. The second place finisher, Nash, came back and crushed a maiden special weight field right here at Churchill Downs. The third place finisher should have won a maiden special weight next out. Had an awful trip, but still has a lot of potential. I think Booth is really good. I think Nash is even better going longer, and I think he's going to be a star. I think that was a loaded maiden race. Give me Booth today in the 9th race at Churchill Downs. I think he's going to get it done. All right, Papa Dude, who you like?
Well, I'm going to that exciting Big Ten conference. By the way, I think the Big Ten's awful. They've got 2 really good teams, and that's it. But unfortunately, because they are so good, everybody thinks the Big Ten's good. No, it's not. It's terrible. It's boring. It's awful. Minnesota, Wisconsin. Neither one can score. I think that is too high. 44.5. I think these 2 teams are going to just hammer at each other. And we're looking at another classic 17-13, 20-17 type game. So I'm going to take the under on Wisconsin and Minnesota. And before we're done, we got to talk about the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa Hawkeyes.
Do we actually have to?
10-2. Once again.
Well, here's the deal. The Hawkeyes are 10-2. They're going to the Big 12 or Big 10 championship game. You're what you just said. It's gonna be on display because the 2 best teams of the Big 10 are playing today. One of them are going to have to go play Iowa.
That's right.
And it's going to be a bloodbath next week.
A total slaughter.
I mean,
they should just forfeit.
So the total of that Nebraska-Iowa game yesterday, it opened at like 26.5. It went down to 25. Some people got it. 24.5 is what it actually ended up, which was the lowest ever, the lowest total ever, and it still went under yesterday.
Unbelievable. And the only way you were going to lose is if it went to overtime. And you still probably wouldn't have lost.
And what's crazy is, Mark brings it up and Michael brings it up. I haven't heard from one person that played the over. Not one.
No.
I mean, that's crazy.
Iowa to win at +3.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing we talked about. Iowa's an underdog. It's like, how are they an underdog against Nebraska? Well, come on. But crazy.
Next week, Iowa could play with 22 offensive players against the other team's 11 and still get their ass beat.
I agree. I totally agree.
They don't have any skilled players.
No, they don't.
But
Go ahead.
I really now I don't know how the Big Ten is going to realign. I mean, Iowa has cashed in on being on that weak side of the Big Ten.
Yeah, they were the team that cashed in on it. Yeah,
they cashed in. Wisconsin did for a while,
for a little while.
They've fallen.
Yeah,
and Iowa's just stayed the same. I don't know how they're going to redo it. They got the 4 Pac-12 schools coming in there, and Iowa couldn't beat any of them. And logic would say I just don't know how they're going to do it, how they're going to divide this up.
Yeah.
I think the party's over for Iowa. When you add those 4 teams, it's going to toughen up who they have to play from the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I would not be, and if I was Kirk Ferentz, however you pronounce it, who's a great coach, if I was him, this would be it. Because he ain't going to go 10-2.
No. With
the trashy they have on offense.
No.
Are they getting rid of divisions? Is that?
I think they'll get rid of divisions, but
18 teams.
As far as like who these teams are going to play, I really have no idea. I haven't seen the schedule. Maybe I'll look that up here in a second.
We'll have to talk about that on our show.
Rob has Northern Illinois minus 19, West Virginia minus 11, Florida plus 6.5. Those are 3 that he likes today.
Yeah, Northern Illinois playing Ball State, I think. See, Rob is smart. He's going to these inconspicuous games. That's where you make your money.
I'm Googling right now. This is good radio. Iowa's 2024. Oh, it's up. Okay. You want me to read it off for you?
Yeah.
Because this is your favorite team.
Love them.
Oh, they're going to get. Oh, God. Ooh.
Yeah, just read it.
That's going to get bad. So,
retire.
Illinois State. So, there you go.
There's one.
Iowa State. They'll continue to play them.
Iowa State could not beat them. That's 2.
Nope. Troy.
3.
At Minnesota.
Beat them. It's at Iowa, right?
Yeah.
They'll beat them.
At Minnesota.
Well, that's a toss-up.
I mean, they play them, though. That's nothing new.
No.
This is where it gets new. At Ohio State.
Nice. 50-0.
Washington.
50-0.
Yep. At Michigan State, that's the same. Northwestern, that's the same. Wisconsin, that's the same. At UCLA.
That's a loss.
It's really not that bad, though. At Maryland and then at home against Nebraska. That's not that
they just gained Ohio State, which they may have gained anyway because they don't play them every year.
Well, Ohio State, Washington, and UCLA. That's the 3 that they gained. They don't normally.
They got Washington and UCLA.
UCLA. So
no, he doesn't need to resign.
They could be who they are right now and win 8 or 9.
Yeah. It sounds to me like they haven't done much of a division at all.
No.
They're still playing the same teams.
Pretty much the same. They added two of those games, from the new schools. And then, like I said, you flip-flop what you're at right now. So Ohio State may have been coming on anyway. So, yeah.
Well, really, in the Big Ten right now, if you don't have to play Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State, you got to throw them in there. They just don't have any offense.
Yeah.
Really, you don't have to be very good at all.
No.
Well, they've proven it.
They have proven it.
They
got to be the worst 10-2 team ever. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, that'll do it for the show today. We will get going here. Oh, I need to put the best bets up. One more time here. Best bets once again here. I'm going to go with Churchill Downs Race 9, number 9 Booth. Magic's going to go Ohio State plus 3.5. Papa Dude going Wisconsin, Minnesota under 44.5 today. And another Big Ten clash. Obviously 0-0 for the week. We haven't had a show yet, so we'll have 2 shows this week to kind of round out the week. Up 436 for the year. All right, Papa Dude, let's keep it going. All right, we're going to get out of here, guys, because the best 20 minutes of the day getting ready to start when Lee Corso puts on the headgear there for College Game Day. So we got to get to watch that, and then Ohio State, Michigan will start. Everybody have a great Saturday. It's what we dream of, guys, this Saturday, because we've got the Stars of Tomorrow at Churchill Downs, good cards at Aqueduct and Del Mar, and then, of course, a full slate, once again, of college football. All right, guys, we will see you right back here tomorrow.